Everyone, this is Jonathan Baptist, the Sports Judge. Welcome to my sports channel. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope you guys are enjoying the NFL games. I'm going to talk a little college football real quick. I'm going to talk about the Nebraska Cornhuskers because as Nebraska fans know, Scott Frost finally got fired. It was only a matter of time because things had kind of snowballed out of control with that football program. After he took over the football program. And you know, a lot of people had high praise for Scott Frost coming from Central Florida, where he did a terrific job coaching a smaller school, a program that went undefeated. And, you know, when he took over a big dog, a program with a richer history, he struggled. You know, it just didn't work out for him. It didn't work out for Frosty, okay? Frosty pursued his dream job. He took the coaching job. It was a dream. It was a dream of his to coach, you know, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. But it turned out to be an utter nightmare, as we all saw, as we all witnessed. And you know, yesterday's loss was the final straw. Nebraska suffered an upset. Loss against Southern Georgia, I believe it was, a school that Clay Helton is coaching now. You know, I know Clay Helton all too well because I live here in Southern California and I'm a USC guy. But it's finally over. Nebraska finally dumps, you know, Scott Frost. You know, it's a relationship that's beyond repair. You know, and I felt like they held on to him far too long. You know, they gave him more than enough time to turn things around. They gave him more than enough time to unlock, you know, the success of these talented players, because Nebraska does have a lot of talented players. They just couldn't put it all together under Scott Frost, unfortunately. You know, and somewhere it went wrong. You know, it went wrong. But for a long time, it seemed, Nebraska was welcoming this mediocrity by allowing him to stay as the head coach. You know, they were getting abused pretty much by Scott Frost. I mean, I compared this to it like being like someone being in an abusive relationship. You know, it was like being in an abusive relationship with someone who kept pledging to you know, change, but did absolutely nothing to make it better. And Scott Frost did absolutely nothing to make it better for Nebraska. You know, so Nebraska fans got to be feeling a sense of relief. They got to be saying hallelujah today now that this guy is gone. His Nebraska teams were awful in closing games. They couldn't finish games if their life depended on it. You know, and that's what hurt him the most, is that his teams couldn't close out games. You know, they lost 10 straight one-score decisions to close his tenure. You know, and the Cornhuskers on Saturday night fell 45-42 against Georgia Southern. It was Georgia Southern, allowing an 8-yard touchdown with 36 seconds left to fall to 1-2 on the season. Nebraska has seen enough. You know, Nebraska can't continue to put themselves through this. You know, Frost was fired 3 games into his 5th season. He's been there 5 seasons, you know. And again, he joined his automata as the nation's hottest coach in 2018. He was a hot commodity. Everybody was going after Scott Frost. You know, after that impressive run with UCF where he went 13-0 the year prior to that, but never won more than 5 games in a single season in the Big Ten. You know, it's just been an absolute struggle for him. And now your head coach will be Mickey Joseph, who will serve the remainder of the season as Nebraska's interim coach. maybe he can breathe some life into this team. That's usually what happens, right? The interim coach takes over, the team kind of takes on that person's personality, and things change for the better, not always for the worse. Sometimes the team plays harder. Sometimes they compete harder. Sometimes you get a better outcome, once the coach is dismissed or relieved of his duties. But this is a program that is known for winning, and I mean it just was bad. It was very, very bad for Nebraska. But I'm surprised that Nebraska held on to him as long as they did, and they're basically paying him. They're paying Scott Frost to leave. They're giving him a massive buyout to go away. They need a change in leadership. They want a change in leadership of the football program. This firing is effective immediately. And I mean, you could say that Scott Frost poured his heart and soul into the Nebraska football program. I mean, hell, it was the school where he graduated from. He has ties to the university. I think that's why he was such a big name and why he might have held his job as long as he did, why he assumed his role as the head coach of the team for so long. But under Frost, Nebraska finished no better than 5th in the Big 12 West from 2018 to 21. And during that span, they never qualified for a bowl game. With their best record standing at 5-7 in 2019. That's the most games he's ever won, 5 games with Nebraska. And the hope was that he would come in and kind of overhaul, the program, and that things would change for the better. He tried to, overhaul his staff after a miserable 3-9 campaign in 2021. But the results did not get any better, to start his 5th season. In fact, it's gotten worse since then. So you can't keep holding on to a guy that's not going to make any changes. And he kept promising change. He kept promising that things would get better. He kept saying that he would do a better job, whatever it took to, resurrect the program and point the program in the right direction. Hasn't happened. Let fans down. Fans were believing. Fans waited patiently. I mean, hell, how long do you expect the fan base to wait? Especially in Nebraska. I mean, it's the only thing they really have in Nebraska. It's college football. It's like a professional team to them. The Nebraska Cornhuskers is a big thing in Nebraska. In Lincoln, Nebraska, they pride themselves on football. I mean, they are immersed into the game of football because that's all they really have out there. And for this team to be as lousy as it was, and for this team to be as terrible as it was, that only means it's time for change. It was time for the athletic director to take action. The Huskers can now hopefully put themselves in the position to hire a coach soon, after the 2022 season, and now, I mean, you got to just start over. The excuses are by now tiring. People don't want to hear the excuses anymore. They want change.